everybody, it's week 5, and sorry this video is late. Life. Anyway, so this week I am calling this one the Magnesium Deficiency and Other Resources, because I have got an overwhelmingly amount of information from everybody, and I want to thank all of you for all your input, because there's a lot of things I did not know. So definitely passing them on and sharing them with everybody. Alright, so to update, we are seeing Leo's peak of this month's clear. He's got a runny nose. You're going to see him running around in the back. He's home. I kept him home from school. He's a little distracting, but we'll get through this. I'll try to do this quickly. He's got a little bit of a runny nose. He woke up really early today and a little bit crabby. But, other than that, I mean, we're not dealing with a fever like we did last time. So, that's something to make note of and talk to his homeopath about. A little diet update. He's not tried anything new yet. But we're still very hopeful. We are completely off of the Pediasure, 100%. That means that dairy is gone out of his diet. He's still eating donuts and cookies, so, he's still getting that gluten, that, and until they make a gluten-free Oreo, there's nothing I can really do about it. The donuts and the cookies are just fillers, but he's drinking about 16 ounces of the Garden of Life protein shake. And I add a banana to it, and he still gets probiotics. And of course, I add the veggie juice to it. So, he's getting a lot of vitamins and minerals that direction. We're still working with the oranges. I send the little cutie oranges to school with him, and so they're working out with him at school too. The school newsletter said that they were going to be working with food all month. So I guess it's something they're doing with the whole class. So this is extremely positive for us. It can only benefit him, and I guess he's going to be playing with food and making different, types of dishes, and kind of like, remember, in school we made bread. So it's going to be along those lines, except for preschool level. So that's really, really, really good. Okay, so I want to touch on some negative responses. I see somebody earlier this week said that they thought that autism was just parents not being disciplinary enough, and it was their kids out of control. So this is a person, obviously, who knows nothing about the diagnosis. And, I'll admit that Leo, kind of gets away with everything. Not everything, but I mean, he gets away with a lot. But, on the same note, we had him kind of late in life. He's not my first rodeo. I have 2 grown sons that are 25 and 24 years old and out on their own. So he was a surprise. And, we had him a little late, and so he, is the only child at home. And the house that we bought to pretty much tailor it to Leo. This is his house, The house is set up to be Leo friendly and Leo safe. So, there's not a whole lot he does that gets him in trouble, and because, he is the only kid, and we pretty much surround our whole life around him, he's not out of control. He minds, he minds. He has his meltdowns, but he does good. He does okay. So, as far as it being a disciplinary issue, it's not. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about some information that was actually given to me from different resources. One thing that was sent to me that also was touched by my homeopathic friend was the magnesium deficiency that is rampant through our society. And what's happened is, ever since like World War II, magnesium's been, dramatically depleted from our food, and, so we're not able to defend ourselves against metals because of this. I mean, really research it. You'd be amazed of what magnesium actually does. On the blog I mentioned, I go into, a little bit of a detail about it. It has over 300 reactions that's involved in the body. And so by depleting magnesium in our system, we're not able to ward off infections, and our digestive system and even development, brain development, is actually involved in that. And so it's affected by our, not having enough of it. So it helps with anxiety, concentration, blood sugar regulation. I mean, it does all this stuff. So, okay, I got some notes that I'm looking at, and I just kind of want to cover. On the blog, I talk about Epsom salt baths. Leo is taking Epsom salt baths, but only maybe once or twice a month I'm going to do it. I don't want to overdo it. I definitely don't want to step outside of what the homeopath is, suggested us doing, And so, but I also have discovered that not a lot of people are aware of this magnesium deficiency and how it actually is associated with kids with autism. And it turns out that kids on the spectrum are very, very low in magnesium sulfate. So the magnesium sulfate that comes in Epsom salts actually helps to detoxify the body, and it also repletes the much needed magnesium. You can also do magnesium supplements, and that may work for people who can actually get things into their children, not us. So we do the bath. So yeah, definitely check out the blog for more information on the magnesium, and do your research, because that is really an interesting factor of the huge puzzle that is autism. And the fact that it relates to digestion is another big deal. Okay, so then another thing that I have here is something about the pH, which is a fluid that surrounds the outer cells in our body. And, excuse me, it affects every biomedical or biochemical process in the body, and maintaining the correct pH enables every process to work more effectively. So that means better functioning of our gut, our immune system, and improving the elimination of heavy metals. So we're back to the heavy metals in our system and all the toxins that, kids on the spectrum, evidently, they're sponges for heavy metals and toxins. So, I mean, that's kind of why it's important for the detoxification and the clearing out. That's where homeopathy just shines. You're not going to get that from your doctor. Your doctor isn't going to tell you to detox, because you could have your kid, being on the spectrum, likely has a lot of heavy metals in his system, likely has a deficiency in magnesium. Are you hearing it? Because if you are, please tell me. My doctor hasn't said nothing. Okay, so the ABA therapists have said nothing. My GI for Leo said nothing. So, I mean, if these are things that you're hearing from your doctor, please let me know, because at this point I'm thinking that there's a complete blackout as far as information is concerned when it comes to doctors and what's really going on. So, look into heavy metal removal, as far as detoxing, the pH, back to that, it said ideally they're aiming for 7 to 7.6. And okay, if you start researching pH, you're going to get into a lot of chemistry. I found it interesting because you can never know too much, right? So it's like knowledge is power. Keep learning, But I tell you what, look into that pH, because it goes into how the alkaline in your system versus acidic, evidently kids on the spectrum have an alkalinity issue. So, definitely look into that. And here's a recommendation for, if that's an avenue you want to take. Of course, it can't hurt, right? So lemon juice is one of the best ways to alkalize, and the best recipe is like a kid's lemonade. And it suggests squeeze fresh lemons or limes and add the juice to soda water. Sweeten with stevia and adjust quantities to taste. So, I said you can also use mineral water that's non-alkalizing, and give it a drink 2 to 3 times a day to bring up the pH to around 7 to 7.6. Also, alkalizing supplement is sometimes needed. You know, okay, so I'm not gonna go above and beyond to try to figure out what his alkalinity is. Okay, there's nothing wrong with adding a little bit of lemon to certain things, so to his diet. So maybe I'll squeeze half a lemon into one of his veggie juices. I don't know. It's not something that I'm going to drop homeopathy and just concentrate on that. And I think that it goes hand in hand with it, though. So it's something to really look into. Another resource that was sent to me via the blog, actually, and it's very interesting. If you want to look into it, please do. It's called "Eat Right for Your Blood Type," is I guess the name of the book, but it's there's so many websites on it, so it's not just based on one book, but it's based on a theory of what your blood type's reactions to certain foods and the way you react to stress and the way evidently your blood type has a lot to do with who you are, which, that's not surprising. Anyway, so I'm just going to read what I got from her. She's a homeopath, and so she says that find out what his blood type is, which I know what his blood type is. She says, I have used a blood type diet on many people with great success. When people are in critical states, I allow them to only eat beneficial or medicinal foods and neutral foods. So what I tell them to stay away from is sugar, soy, corn, gluten, grains, meats that are not on the list, nightshade veggies, dairy, eggs, and peanuts. These are all high allergy and inflammatory foods. I've seen incredible healing from just the beneficial foods. I also work in homeopathy. Both together does miracles. So that's actually really interesting. Now, I looked into it, and I looked, of course, I had to look at Leo's list of what foods this particular diet would approve of and which ones that it would, disapprove of. And it turns out that because of his blood type, it's pretty versatile. So I'm not personally going to adjust everything to this factor. However, it's interesting. It's actually, especially for adults. I mean, because all the websites. In fact, I have some saved up here. I forgot I even pulled up, but it talks about, this website is Eat Right for Your Blood Type, and it talks about what makes the blood type an individual, what makes you unique, the type of personality, manage your stress, energy, live right, obviously the diet, So anyway, I think along with homeopathy, well, let's just be, real, right? If you eat crap, you're going to feel like crap. If you eat right, and you eat the right foods, then you're going to feel great. You're going to have energy, So, let's just keep it real, right? But anyway, I thought this was very fascinating. And but one thing I can appreciate about all the information that you guys are sharing is it's actually making me more aware of my health. I'm eating a little bit better. I'm eating different things, that I wouldn't have before. So Leo's condition is opening my eyes, So if all this work doesn't help anybody else, then at least it's helping me, so, and him. Okay, so a good website to look at the pH is boundless.com. Check that one out. That's actually a really good... that's where you get into the chemistry of what the pH is. It's got a pH scale on it, and it's really, really fascinating. Here's another one for if you go to healthremediesjournal.com. They have top 20 benefits of magnesium. Look into that. That's because it goes into quite a bit actually. So. Also, there's a couple of other websites that talk about the detoxification of Epsom salts and stuff. So it's something to look into, Okay, so those are the, top things. I mean, I'm open to more suggestions and recommendations. I do have a question for everybody. Leo had dietary issues from onset, okay? He had to be put on Ellicare. If you don't know what Ellicare is, look that up. Ellicare is a amino acid based formula that is what they consider pre-digested, and it was for children with protein allergies. Now, judging by all the information that I have come across as far as digestion and absorption and kids on the spectrum, you would think that at this point, because he was like almost 4 months old by the time we got him on Ellicare, and he was colic and horrible, and just in pain all the time. You would think a GI would point this out, right? It did not. So my question is anybody with newborns and infants, have you seen any red flags as infants, with your kids on the spectrum? Because that should have been a red flag. And they should have told us at that point when we were going to transition from formula to baby food, what baby foods to avoid. And from then on, what table foods to avoid. They didn't tell us anything. So what I want to know is if anybody who has a autistic child on the spectrum and is going through ABA, maybe had a gastroenterologist, if at any point you were ever told that your child possibly could be autistic because of newborn and infant dietary concerns, because we were never told. And a lot of things could have been avoided had we been well informed, and it's really sad that we were not. So okay, well, that's all I got for week 5. Sorry it was late. We're looking forward to next week, and I will have more information, I'm sure. So be sure to follow us on Twitter. Always check out the blog. I'm adding dietary updates and challenges, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you all next week.